Warm welcome to this lecture series on organizational behavior. We are in this chapter on group dynamics. I'll quickly explain what happened in the previous lecture. We defined groups. We also looked at the definition of team. And we also looked at the difference between team and the group. So teams can be considered as the subset of groups. But the difference between teams and any other group is teams are more formally structured and they are usually present in the context of work or in the organizational setting. So in that sense, teams can be considered to be closely bound than groups. And also teams may have limited size compared to groups which may have larger sizes also. We also looked at different types of teams. We looked at each of these types of teams and discussed about their nature and characteristics. And we also discussed how these teams may vary in terms of their cohesiveness, their task interdependence, their boundedness and things like that. So this is where we stopped in the previous lecture. Now we are going to look at the team development perspective. So this perspective talks about what happens in a team when it emerges, or over a period of time what kind of group dynamics happens within the team. So group dynamics or team dynamics is an important aspect of team evolution. Why? Because if we don't understand what happens in the team over a period of time, it becomes difficult for us to manage the team. So depending on the time in terms of the life cycle of the team, we need to understand what can be expected from the team at that given point in time. When I say team, what I mean to say is the group, the team dynamics, the interaction between members, the kind of relationship exists between them, the level of performance, the level of cohesiveness in the group, the level of conflict and things like that. Okay, so this particular model is proposed by Tuckman and Jensen, and according to these authors, there are 5 steps or 5 stages in team formation or group development. So when I say group development, which means the evolution of the team. So over a period of time, what happens to the team? So the first stage is forming stage. Forming stage is where the group members come together. This is the first time when members meet each other, and it is also a stage where they get to know each other. So this is like an initial stage of the group formation. So during this stage, the major task in hand is to know each other, getting to know each other, orienting to each other. When you say orienting to each other, it can be both formal elements and also informal elements. Formal elements can be what are the job expectations, what are the power authority, what are the what level of interdependence exists between each other. So understanding all those things are formal orientation, so which happens through the facilitation of the leader or by understanding or reading the manuals or task manuals in the group, process manuals in the group. Informal way of understanding each other is work style of the other person, preferences of the other members, values of the other members, working styles of the other members. So things like this are not written down. You need to interact with each other to understand these informal elements of work behavior. So in fact, both formal and informal aspects of the members, it is very important to understand this because it helps oneself to adapt to the others in the group. So the entire group works on the assumption that when people work together, it leads to synergy. Synergy means collective effort gives more benefits. But to synergy to happen, it is very important for group members to understand each others in the group. So for that, you need to have a very good orientation within the group, which involves both formal and informal elements. So for formal elements, there are manuals, there are prescribed documents which can explain all these elements, like task interdependency, power, hierarchy within the team, things like that. But informal elements can be facilitated only through member interaction. To some extent, the role of the leader is very important. So the second stage is storming stage. So in the first stage, there is a lot of uncertainty. In forming stage, because members have to understand each other, there is a lot of uncertainty. Uncertainty means people may not be very sure about what to expect from the other person, or what will happen to the team, or what will happen to themselves. Okay. So this leads to the second stage, which is storming stage. Storming means there is a lot of ambiguity in the team, and that ambiguity creates conflict, or the ambiguity or uncertainty among members creates confusion in the team, and that confusion can create misunderstanding. Okay, and that misunderstanding may lead to conflict. So if you remember the conflict chapter, we studied conflict in one of those chapters, interpersonal dynamics. Okay, so if you remember, many of these conflicts can be because of misunderstanding between people. May not necessarily there is a problem. People may not understand each other well. Sometimes it can be conflict because of task conflict also. Task conflict means people disagree in terms of what they have to do, or disagree in terms of their own roles, their own their expectations on others, and also expectations others place on them. Okay, so these kind of problems can lead to conflicts in the team. So this is a very important stage, because when members don't resolve these conflicts, it may lead to problems in the group, and it may stop or it may hamper the performance of the group. And when members don't resolve their conflicts at this stage, they may not move on to the next stage. So this is the stage where the leader becomes more important, especially if the group is a self-managing work group, where the formal elements are very less, but the informal dynamics are more. What I mean to say is, there are no clear-cut descriptions of who will do what, or what are their roles, what is the timeline, what are their key tasks. If there are no clear-cut documents, formal information, they have to understand most of it through informal sources. It can lead to a lot of conflict, okay, because there is a lot of uncertainty. So that is where a leader plays a very important role. The leader has to help team members adapt to each other, understand each other, listen to each other, create a culture and a climate in the team so that people will be tolerant to individual differences. So, they should understand the group is diverse, the members are diverse, and they should be willing to, understand each other better. Okay. So this is the role of a leader, to facilitate member interaction and conflict resolution. If members overcome the conflicts in terms of agreement, in terms of what they have to do, their roles, and how they have to do, and also to some extent when they have to do, it leads to the third stage, which is norming. Norming means unwritten rules. So this is a stage where team members arrive at unwritten rules. Written rules are already there, but unwritten rules are norms, which means what is correct and what is not correct, what is allowed, what is not allowed, how people should or how people should be treated in the team, in what ways that deviant behavior in the group should be handled. So these are some of the unwritten rules in the team. So these norms should emerge at this stage. So it gives why it is important to evolve such kind of norms in teams, because it gives some kind of a structure to the team. Structure in the sense it gives uncertainty to the team in terms of rules, social relationships, what is accepted, what is not accepted, things like that. So once norms are clearly established, the group starts performing. So now everything is like smooth. At this stage, before this stage, there was a lot of conflict. At this stage, everything calms down. People come to some consensus and arrive at some social norms in the group. So at this point, the performance of the group increases. So the fourth stage is performing stage. So the focus is at work, and there are very few conflict in the team because already norms are arrived at, and there are clear-cut structure in the team, and also over a period of time they also understand each other better, so they don't need to every time establish rules or norms. So the time wasted on establishing norms and resolving conflicts is saved. So everything starts moving smoothly from this point in time. So performing stage, people start working, the focus is only on the task. This is like an autopilot mode. Everything happens on its own. People start working on their own. The final stage is adjourning stage. So if the team has a specific timeline in terms of a project team kind of a team, where the team has to dismantle the end of the life cycle of the team. So that is when adjourning happens. So adjourning is when the task is completed, the group life cycle ends. Okay. So this is in terms of performance of the team over a period of these 5 stages. So the first stage, people are very excited. There's a lot of anticipation, and also there is anxiety. Team members, because when they come to the team for the first time, they are meeting each other for the first time. There's a lot of excitement, expectation about what is going to happen, what is going to happen for them, what are the benefits they will get working in the team, things like that. Sometimes they may feel anxious also. They may not know whether the team members will be friendly or not, whether they'll be cooperative or not. There'll be anxiety also. And some members will be very optimistic. So there'll be a lot of energy in the team in the forming stage. But in the second stage, reality strikes. All the excitement slowly wears down, because you need to work with team members over a period of time. So people start showing their true behaviors. So the reality sets in, frustration, because your expectations, you thought everything will be smooth, but things are not that easy. There are a lot of things to be done. There are a lot of rules to be arrived at. So that leads to frustration. Frustration means disappointment. And sometimes it can lead to dissatisfaction also. There will be dropouts in the team also. Some members will feel, no, I may not fit into this team, or I don't like this team, I want to move out of this team. So people will get dissatisfied. They may leave, some members may leave the team also. And also people will get anxiety in terms of adjustment. They don't know whether things will happen smoothly or not, because there's a lot of conflict in the team now. So some of them will get very anxious, stressed. They may get aggressive also, some members. So all this confusion can happen. There'll be a lot of chaos. So performance comes down. Third stage is norming, where people come to shared goals. They understand what are their goals, and they also arrive at rules in terms of who should do what. And this leads to team cohesion, because reduced conflict leading to cohesion. Cohesion means they get adapted to each other. They start liking each other. They start, friendship ties emerge during this period. People establish friendship with others in the team. And also they have understood the reality. So coping means they start adjusting. And they accept that this is what is going to happen. This is what we can expect from the group. This is what we will get from this team. So people start accepting the reality. Slowly they start performing. Performance increases. So teamwork happens. There is synergy. Synergy emerges within the team. There is also cohesiveness. The cohesiveness becomes high. The boundedness between the team members become high because of friendship ties becoming close. And also the leadership plays a very important role here. The leadership tries to handle even if some minimal conflict emerges in a very positive way, not like hushing up all the mini conflicts arise. So whenever there is some misunderstanding, the leader intervenes and tries to see what is the problem and help the team to resolve the conflict so that the performance doesn't get affected. So the performance increases. So this is like peak of the team. And at some point when the team understands that we are nearing the end of our tenure and the team is going to dismantle. So that leads to separation anxiety. They will feel bad that they are going to get separated. They are going to leave. The team is not going to be there. We have to leave. Sometimes it can lead to crisis also. Why? Because the target is nearing, the deadline is nearing. They may not, or they would not have achieved the results. They might be a little far away from the results. So it may lead to panic behavior because there is less time, but the goals are not very close. The goals are far away. So it can lead to panic behavior, crisis behavior. Some of them may become dissatisfied, and there can be negativity also. Suddenly, there'll be blame game, especially when the team goals are far away, or if they have not performed to the extent which they are expected to perform. It can lead to negativity. They will start blaming each other. The conflict which happened during storming stage can also evolve again or emerge again. Okay. Somehow if they manage to finish the task and also resolve the conflict, the final step is in dismantling of the team. But again, in organizational context, there will always be newer teams gets formed. So members look for newer options. Their skills set has increased. There is also anticipation in terms of joining a new team, excitement and things like that. So this is like a cycle where you start with low behavior and then conflict happens and then norming, everything settles down, and then performing where you perform to the fullest, and then there's a slight dip because of conflicts again, and then anticipation of becoming a member in the new team. Okay. So this particular model is a relatively old model, 1977, but again even now this model is very relevant. Why? Because most teams similar pattern is seen in work context, because humans are humans. Many of these things are true in work teams even now, but there are certain conditions for which has changed, especially context in terms of virtual teams. Cross-cultural virtual teams have increased. Cross-cultural virtual teams means teams will have members from different cultural contexts, different countries, different backgrounds, and also they may not be in the same place. They will be using technological tools for communication. For example, one member will be in US, one member will be in India, one member will be in China, one member in Japan, another member in Europe. So people are working in different locations, but they are working in the same project, and each of them are from different cultural backgrounds. So these kind of new teams or team structures have emerged, so which have changed the way teams or team life cycle evolves over a period of time. For example, maybe in cross-cultural work teams, virtual teams, storming stage might be very high, or maybe at some point in some kind of cross-cultural virtual teams, they may forego the storming stage also, because if everything is like clearly written down, the clear-cut rules, in cross-cultural virtual teams, you don't need to worry about setting up norms and things like that. So they may completely forego storming stage also, storming and norming stage also. Okay. Or if there are no clear-cut rules, cross-cultural virtual teams can spend more time in storming and norming stage. Okay. So all these dynamics are changing because of changing nature of work teams. But otherwise, in most teams, this kind of life stage holds true in most cases. Okay. So we are moving to the next section of this particular chapter, which is problems which might happen in teamwork. So teams, when they manage their team dynamics well, they can really do wonders. But at the same time, they may also encounter some special problems which may not happen in individual work. Teamwork, working in teams is very different and also to some extent difficult than working individually. Why it is different, or in what ways it is different, or what are the problems teamwork might have compared to individual work is these two problems. The first problem is free riding. It's also called as social loafing, but there's a thin line between free riding and social loafing. And the second problem is groupthink. So free riding and social loafing is something like this. So free riding means taking advantage of the other member in the group or others in the group. So what I mean to say is, you claim ownership for others' work. Okay, so somebody in the group doesn't work, but try to claim that they have worked, and they tend to assert that they also played a very important role in the work. This is like taking advantage of others' work. Social loafing is because you are in a group, the level of responsibility on you is very less. In other words, the level of the level in which people can identify you in terms of whether you did a work or not is very less. People may not work. Okay, so when people come together in group, they tend to work less compared to they work individually. Okay, when that happens, social loafing can happen. Okay, other way around can also happen. When individually they may not work well, in a group they may work well. So that is like synergy. The opposite of synergy is social loafing, where individually they work well, but when they work together as a group, individual members may reduce their effort. So this can lead to social loafing. So for example, in many of the student projects, you would have seen, individually they are like very good in terms of their capacity, but when they come together in group, they may not work because they think other person will work. Okay, that is social loafing. Free riding is in group project, there is an assignment, one person doesn't work, but end of the project, he or she will come to the presentation stage and make the presentation as if he or she has done the entire project. Okay, so that is free riding. Social loafing is you don't work because you feel others will work. So that's the major difference. Okay, so why free riding happens? Because there is diffusion of responsibility. Diffusion of responsibility means you feel the responsibility is shared among all of us in the group. So the level of responsibility on me is less. And also it leads to de-individualization. De-individualization means there is no individual identity in the group. So there are very less chances that you will be caught for not doing work. So since you are in a group, if you don't do a work, if somebody blames you, you can very well say, no, I don't know what I have to do, or people didn't explain me, or I thought it's not my problem or my responsibility. Okay, so individual identity is lost if you are in a group. So if the group fails also, people cannot pinpoint you and say you didn't work. If the group fails, you can very well say the other person didn't work. Okay, so that is de-individualization. The other extreme reason which can lead to free riding is sucker aversion. Sucker aversion means sometimes in the group, people may feel maybe if I work more, the other person will take advantage of me. If I show that I can perform well, then other team members will, give all the responsibilities to me. So better I will show as if I'm not able to work. Okay, so this is like, if you see in some groups, if somebody is very enthusiastic, other team members will give all the work to them. and tell them, oh, you are very good and you do this work. Okay, so fearing that some members may not work, they will feel if I show I'm capable or I'm very interested, then I will be held responsible for all the activities. So better not to perform or decrease my performance. Okay, so I'll stop here because in the next section we are going to talk about why social loafing happens. Because in this slide we looked at why free riding happens. In the next section we'll talk about why social loafing happens and how to avoid social loafing and free riding, and also how to manage what is groupthink and how to manage groupthink. So till then, take care. We'll meet in the next lecture.